Hello and welcome to another doll repainting video on my channel. In this video, we'll be transforming Draculaura into Billie Eilish. So let's start by preparing our doll. I'm going to cut off all of her hair as close to the scalp as possible, so it'll be easier later to remove the plugs from the inside. I'm going to put her into boiling hot water. This will help to pull off the head without breaking the neck peg. And with circular motions, I will pull out the hair plugs. Also, the hot water helps to soften up the glue. Using pure acetone, I will remove the factory paint. And I'm only going to remove it on the face, as the head doesn't bother us in the face up. So I will take some green fabric. I'm going to stretch it out, and with fabric marker I will start creating the patterns on the fabric. And then I will take my doll and mark on a paper just to make the patterns for the t-shirt and the trousers. And I do generally suck at making patterns, so I kind of make it up as I go along and adjust and fix while I stitch everything. And I do stitch everything by hand, even though I have a sewing machine. So I will put the patterns on the fabric and then cut everything. Also the sleeves, the trousers, and then I will be stitching everything off camera. Then I have sprayed the doll with 3 layers of Mr. Super Clear, and I will start blushing with some soft browns. Just to contour her face, and to smooth out everything, I use a Q-tip. As for the lips, I'm going for a rosy color. And continuing with contouring and blushing. Now, using a soft brown, I'm going to sketch out my eyes. I will make them a little bit smaller than I usually do on my dolls. And I use a soft brown because it's easier to erase until I get the shape to match each other. Highlighting a little bit on the lips, and using a soft pastel pencil, I will be sketching out where I want her brows. Billie has blue eyes, so I'm going in and sketching out the eyes. White for her sclera. And this is pretty much my first layer. Now moving on to the eyebrow. She's got pretty bushy eyebrows, and I'm just making small lines so they look hairy and more realistic. I am now on my second layer, and I'm applying the darker colors and also intensifying what I had. She has some very subtle freckles, so I will be adding them with watercolor and dabbing off with a Q-tip any excess pigment there's there, just to soften them up. As for the eyes, I added a little bit of yellow in the center. I'm a little bit off camera as usual here. So I'm creating the contour of the iris, and I'm going in between the lips with some watercolor and a tiny brush. Adding a little bit of brown pastel just to give her a little bit of an eyeshadow. And I am now on the next layer, and I'm adding my blacks. Using again some watercolor, I will be creating the bottom lashes with the thinnest brush that I have. And then on top, I'm using a pencil. Working on the eyes a little bit more and putting some peachy blush on the cheeks. Adding a little bit more in between the lips with my watercolor. And a highlight in the tear duct. And again on top of the lips. Now that I'm done with the face up, I will be adding the catch lights with some acrylic paint. And then glossing them up, making the lips extra glossy, as she usually wears a subtle color with some gloss on top, and also the eyes. And now the worst and most annoying part of this face up, that's why I was so long and I did not upload for so long. So I took some yarn, which ended up being acrylic, and it didn't paint with fabric dye. Also on the acrylic yarn, I tried to paint them with the fabric markers, and it was just every time I brushed it, it was falling off. So I ended up going and buying some cotton, thinking that it would paint better. It was a whole mess, and the cotton ones, the fiber was so small that it just wasn't long enough to put it in updo. So what I ended up doing was again doing the acrylic yarn and painting it with soft pastels, and that was the thing that worked the best. So I'm just sketching on the head where I want the part and where I want her buns to be. And I'm going to start gluing the hair. I'm gluing the first wefts, which are at the part on the opposite side, which I want them to face, so I can turn them around and you can't see the glue, and it makes it look more realistic and pretty. And I'm using Mod Podge. As for the buns, I painted some yarns completely black. I made them into like little ponytails, and I will glue them where I marked the buns to be. Yelling timber, and it kept falling off. So here it is, gluing the wefts. I turn the parting and I will put them up in a space bun. I also put some hairspray just to seal the pastel on the yarns. Then I wanted to add some accessories, and I put a bunch of chains around her neck, and I put a crystal skull on it just to give it some bling. As for her shoes, I use these Frankie ankle, pop the head back on, and here is Billie. I hope you guys like this face up. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and I will leave my Instagram in the description box below. Also, Billie will be for sale, so her link will be in the description box as well.